First, and most importantly, I want to share our partners in this research, our sponsoring companies. American Express, Boehringer Ingelheim, Genentech, McKesson, trying to look at everyone, Merck Serono, Schlumberger, and Siemens. The fearless leaders who helped us tackle this huge challenge that we have in front of us. How we better leverage, how we better engage, and how we better utilize the women that we have in science, engineering, and technology. So why this study? What have we seen in the past 5 years? We've actually seen great progress at the top of the house in a few key companies. Think of Ellen Kullman, the head of DuPont. Meg Whitman now is at the helm of HP. And Ginny Rometty, who at IBM is homegrown leadership. Let us not forget that Ginny started as a systems engineer in the Detroit office and grew, according to Forbes magazine, what she told them, because of the great mentors and support networks that she had at the company. So they're great messages that there is a huge amount of potential. And when women can fulfill that potential, magic happens. These industries are, of course, hugely important, $53 billion industries, yet they're facing today a very serious challenge. All across the globe, companies cannot fill their most important technical positions. In the US, for example, we need 1 million more workers. To put this into perspective and scope, every year, if you add up all the masters and doctorates awarded in SET fields, it's just under 1 million workers. So we actually need to really double our pipeline in order to fill the jobs that we're talking about. Or leverage the women that we already have. Across the globe, this is obviously an aggregate picture, but women are increasingly getting science, engineering, and technology degrees. They encompass 51% of graduates in North America. Not exactly true for tech or engineering, but certainly in the science fields, they're entering in huge numbers. And if you look, they're also going into the private sector jobs where we need them most. A very high proportion of the young talent that we see in our companies are female. These women that come into our companies show unusual and spectacular commitment to their jobs, to the very things they do on a daily basis. And you think of some of what they've been able to show us as society. It was a woman who invented Kevlar, the bulletproof material that gets our servicemen and women back home to their families. Scotchgard, the Roomba vacuum cleaner, the only reason that my floors are clean. But also Dr. Virginia Apgar, who invented the Apgar test, who when I held my baby girl for the first time 10 months ago, I knew because of that test that she was healthy and should be nowhere but in my arms. So there's huge potential of women in these fields if we only help them shine through. The sobering fact of the morning, though, they're stuck. They're stalled. See, a huge amount of this potential is squandered away by the fact that they're not advancing. And they're thinking of leaving the industry and their companies as a result. So let's take a look at some of the data. Overwhelmingly, women are dramatically stalled in this industry. They're not getting to the top. There are very few Ginny Romettys who can break through the culture at companies. Now, the number that, of course, leapt off the page here is India at 45%. A huge, remarkable number of women who can't get to the top. When we dug a little deeper, we found that it was overwhelmingly true for the young talent in India. And you think about the culture, this very hierarchical culture that places a lot of importance on job title. met with a very young, lovely female engineer who told us that the pressure from her family to get a promotion, to get a new job title, is actually more severe than the pressure to have children. It's astounding how much we feel that we need to be advancing in our careers, particularly in India. They also have one foot out the door. They're looking to leave. When they feel that they have so much to give and it's not being leveraged, it creates enormous frustration. So women are turned off, they're tuned out, and they're not able to contribute this potential. Digging a little bit more deeper into the flight risk, we can see that it varies by age across geography. Take the US, for example, where the peak of flight risk is in the decade of the late 30s to early 40s. And contrast that against Brazil, that's overwhelmingly in the younger ages. In the US, of course, it takes so long to get a degree in science, engineering, or technology that we start our professions later. So at age 25, you're just getting into the industry, you're putting your head down, and you haven't yet looked up and saw the challenges. In Brazil, on the other hand, at 25, you could have already been working for 7 years. So you know the challenges. You're looking for role models and you're not finding them, and you're looking to leave. Flight risk is also more intensely felt in engineering and technology, more so than science, where it seems to be a pocket of better culture for these women. So what is going on in these industries? Why do we see such stalling and such flight risk?